So when I came back to my drawing with fresh eyes and I was looking at it, I noticed I made a few mistakes. I made the handle here too high up compared to the lid. I get my ruler and double check that. So if I put my ruler, making sure it's straight, and line it up to the top of the handle, I can see the peak of the jug comes up a little bit higher than the top of the handle, and that little knobby thing on the lid is a good bit higher than the handle. So while I do have it a bit higher, I don't have it high enough, and I also have it actually a little higher than the peak, so I need to bring down that handle a little bit more. So you'll be using your 2B pencil. I'm going to use a 4B pencil so you can see what I'm doing. So if I just get my ruler and I decide where I want the top of my handle to be, so I want it to be just a tiny bit below, that's the peak of the top of the peak of the teapot. I want it a little bit below that, so I'm just going to do a line here. So I need to drop it quite significantly. And I'm going to keep checking for my negative space. And I need to make it a little bit wider as well, I think. Just a little bit. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking at the black space here, the negative space. And I'm just going to rub out some of this so you can see what I'm doing, because I know it'll be hard to see on the camera. And this again is why we draw lightly. Because I'm drawing with the 4B pencil, so you can see there are marks left on the paper, but if you do it all lightly in a 2B pencil, it shouldn't be as dark. So always lightly to start with. So now I'm coming back in again. Double check that swoop, it might come down even a little bit lower there and come up again. Double checking that line that I drew. I'm going to maybe come a tiny bit above it. And I'm just going to fill that in there. Now, and this little ovally thing, I'm just going to double check that negative space there now. Now, sorry, this little knobby thing, for now I just look at the angle of it. So it's not straight down, it's at a slight angle like this. So I'm going to put that in. And then check the handle. I might have brought it out a little bit too wide, overcompensating. That's common in drawing. You see a mistake and you overcompensate, so be careful about that. Okay, and I'm just going to look at this little peak here and to make sure that it's symmetrical. I'm going to look at the negative space around it, just to refine that shape a little bit before I start shading. Okay, just get rid of those extra lines. It's always good to sit back from your drawing, to have a look at it. Okay, I think I'm a little bit happier with that. Okay, so now I can just rub out any marks that I made in preparation for shading. Okay, so then I'm going to move on to the next part, which is using the techniques that we learned in the previous video about shading to make this object look 3D on the page. Alright, so that will be the next stage. Watch this space.